We're going to be taking out fish to one shop, and we're also going to be taking out fish to a wholesaler. And I just wanted to take a moment to show you guys how I do this. If you're selling to a wholesaler, you're going to take a quarter of the price that you would sell that fish for normally in a shop. These guys have really settled in. They've become a lot more active, and I've seen them in and around these rocks. Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to Keeping Fish Simple. So in today's video, we are going to be doing another vlog. Today we are taking a bunch of fish out, and I thought I might just take you guys along for the journey because a lot of people don't really know what it's like when we take out all these fish and we sell them, because a lot of people don't obviously breed as many fish as I do. They only take a few fish out. So today we're taking out hundreds of fish. We're going to be taking out fish to one shop, and we're also going to be taking out fish to a wholesaler. So today we're going to be taking out basically all these German blue rams. I'm going to save a couple of them for breeding, and the rest are going to go to the wholesaler, and we're also going to take some of these to a shop. You can see just how good they're starting to look. These are massive adults at this point, and we just need this tank to grow out our next batch of German blue rams. Or actually, I think we've got black rams. So yeah, this is going to be a tank for the black rams. We're going to be taking these guys out. We've also got to take out these angels. Now you might be wondering why this tank's a little bit dirty, and that's just because there's a mountain of bristlenose down the bottom here. So they've like dirtied up the water quite a bit there. But you can see these beautiful gold marble pearl scale angels. We'll be taking out all of these. There's also this tank down here, which also has a ton of these as well. We're going to be taking all these guys out today. Another thing that I'm very excited about is we've started to sell quite a few cories. We're not going to take any cories to a wholesaler today, but we do have quite a few going to a couple of shops. So we're going to be taking out some of these stir-by cories, which are going to be hiding underneath this Java moss that I've added. So we can lift up and see whether it's a little bit dirty, but there's some of our so quick. There's some of our stir-bys. So you can see them all there. They all kind of like shoal together, which makes them kind of easy to catch, but we take some of them out. And finally, up in this tank, there's a few stir-bys in here as well. We also have some panda cories and some similus cories in here. Now, there's also a ton of snails. We're going to have to take out quite a few of these snails. I think I might need to get some pea puffers pretty soon because I'm just wasting so many of these snails just like, you know, I have to throw them in the garden, and I'd love to feed them to some kind of puffer fish. So I think we might get some pea puffers in the very near future. But I mean, I can give you guys a quick update as well. On our last vlog, we picked up these Hillstream loaches, and you can see this tank is starting to look really, really good. They've been really keen on the rocks up the back. I mean, they've been really hiding quite well. I don't think they're going to start coming out until they feel a little bit more comfortable. Obviously, being in this tank, we're going to close the lid because they do climb out. But yeah, I guess without any further ado, let's get to bagging up these fish because we've got a lot of bagging to do, and we've got to drive all these guys across Brisbane. So yeah. All right, so we're currently in the process of catching out some cories that we're going to be selling. And I just wanted to take a moment to show you guys how I do this, because a lot of people ask me, you know, how to actually like bag fish. And you know, when we're working with like hundreds of fish at a time, you got to get your numbers right. So what I like to do is, instead of just bagging the fish and putting them into a bag, especially with these guys, these are known to have toxin in them, and when they're stressed, they'll release that toxin. And if they're in a bag, that can actually kill all the cories in the bag. So what I like to do is, because I keep all my cories together, like you can see we've got a bunch of different types. So we've got stir-bys here, we've got some longfin pandas, and we had some similus in here. And what I like to do is I'll add a couple of scoops of water into this bucket. I'll catch out all the cories and I'll put them in here. And then that way I can sort the cories and I can count them, and then I can easily bag them. And I can also check out each specimen. So you can see like maybe, you know, there's a few in here that are probably just not ready to go. So like maybe this small one here, this guy, he might not be ready to go. So he might have to go into another grow out tank. And then that way I can get all my sizing right and I can get the exact quantities right. And another thing too that's really good about this with the cories is if I do that, that's going to scare all the cories. And if there's any toxins in there, they're going to release that. And it's going to stay in this water, and I'll get a fresh bag of water. And that way they don't have any toxins in the bag. So this is just a really good piece of advice for bagging these cories. But you can see we've got a lot of stir-bys, and I've got to get, I think, 30 stir-bys, 30 pandas, and 20 similus. So I'll keep going with this. So you can see over on this side of the fish room, we've been bagging for quite a bit. We've actually got to get a move on and try and get to the fish shops. But you can see the massive amount of bags that we have, and this is because I don't have oxygen in the fish room at the moment. So when I fill up a bag, I don't have an oxygen dispenser to fill the bag. and make the bags last longer, so we have to use more bags, which is kind of annoying, but that's all the bags. We're trying to get most of these angels out, and then we're gonna go and try and get these guys to the fish shops. And then we have to load the car, which you can see here. We use like these crates. So we're now driving to our first stop, which is gonna be the aquarium shop. And I'm dropping these guys off at Smith's Aquarium, so if you guys wanna go pick them up, they're gonna be there, but I don't know. So we're gonna go drop off all the fish there, and then we're gonna go to the wholesaler after that. A lot of people ask me all the time, I get this question on my videos all the time, and it's how do you decide how much to sell your fish for? And I thought that I could quickly just like talk about that because there's a few rules for deciding a price. So the first thing I like to do is it depends who you're selling to. So like normally with fish, there's 3 layers. So there's gonna be a wholesaler, and then a wholesaler is gonna sell fish to the retailer. So that's gonna be the shop. And then the shop's gonna sell it to the customer. Normally each time we have a 50% markup. So each person's gonna wanna double their money at each stage. So that means if you're selling to a wholesaler, you're gonna take a quarter of the price that you'd sell that fish for normally in a shop. And then if you're gonna sell to a shop, you're normally gonna do half the price. So like say you've got a cory that's worth in the shop $12, you would normally go $6, and normally you take about $1 off just to account for each death that they might get. Like, you know, fish just die in shops sometimes, like there's nothing you can really do about it. So that's normally my rule. Obviously if you're selling guppies and stuff that only sell for $4, you're not normally gonna get like $2, you might only get $1 each. So it all kind of depends. And then obviously with wholesale, you're gonna go a quarter of the price that you would do for retail. So like say that same cory sells for $12, wholesale you're probably gonna get like $2.50 to $3, depending on how many you have and all that kind of stuff. So that's just my general rule, but I hope that helped you out a little bit if you were wondering how I do that. But let's get to the shop and take these fish in. All right, so we've just dropped off all the fish. Now, a lot of people are gonna be like, you didn't even show us inside of the places you dropped them off. And I know a lot of other people on YouTube like will go in and talk and show stores that they sell their stuff in and all that kind of stuff, but that's just not really like my scene. I don't really like going into a shop where people don't really know I'm recording and, I don't know, making a whole big thing. So we didn't record going into these places, but I hope you guys still got a bit of value out of, you know, seeing what it's like actually bagging all these fish, because now it's 2 o'clock and I think we started bagging at like 9, did we? Yeah. So what's that, 5 hours, and we haven't had a break. So yeah, I mean, it is a lot of effort bagging fish, and it is quite a stressful day because you want to make sure all the fish get there safely. So, but we're gonna go back to the fish room, and yeah, the fish room's gonna be an absolute pigsty because it gets really, really dirty when we bag fish. But yeah, let's go back to the fish room. Okay, so it's now the next morning, we're back in the fish room, and you can see just how grubby this place does get after a day of packing. Now, especially a day of packing like that, where there's just so many orders and there's just, you know, bags of fish flying around everywhere, and especially just because this is such a tight space, it does make it quite tricky to have, you know, big orders come through. But nonetheless, we did get them all out, and we got them all out successfully. We've actually got a small order today that we're taking out, so you can see we've got like 20 German blue rams and some shrimp and some moss. So we'll be taking that out today. But you can see the floor gets really grubby with like moss and just, you know, stuff everywhere. So I'm gonna have to give this a hose out very soon. You can see we've depleted quite a lot of these German blue rams. They're mostly gone. I've saved quite a few just to sell to shops next week and just to save them for the website. And I'm probably gonna use some of these to breed like I was saying earlier on in the video. But we also do have some good news. If we come over this side of the fish room and have a look in this end tank here, we have our celestial pearl danios in this tank, and they're up the back. So they're a little bit trickier to see, but this morning I came in and I had a look inside of their containers, and they did have some eggs. So there wasn't really enough eggs to be worth like recording anything because I'm still experimenting with these, but there was about 30 viable eggs, I think, that should hatch and turn into little celestial pearl danios. But the reason I'm saying this is it's just very exciting to know that this tank is working for these guys and they have been breeding in here. Now you can see I've got 2 containers. I did swap out that back container that was originally a breeder box that had the divider in there, because that divider just seemed to not really work very well for these eggs. They were getting stuck in the divider and it just wasn't a great idea. But having the 2 containers was an awesome idea, because what happens is we have 1 male over this ball of moss and 1 male over the back ball of moss, and we've got 3 males in this tank. And instead of them constantly bickering over the same ball of moss, they just go to their separate ones and the females go between them, and it works really well. So that was a really good idea. I do have the eggs on the other side of the fish room. If you come on up to this container, you can see we've got some tap water in here and the eggs are in here, and I'm attempting to hatch them out in these tubs that I've been using for breeding bedders and hatching out rainbow fish eggs and things like that. And hopefully this does work. Now the container's blue because I've added some drops of methylene blue in there, and hopefully we do get to hatch out some of these eggs that are in this container. So I'm just experimenting with this method. I was bottlenecking before. I was originally hatching these guys out in breeder boxes, and the problem was I didn't have enough breeder boxes, and I'd fill up the breeder boxes and then I wouldn't be able to produce any more until I move those on. So this method will at least stop that bottlenecking and we'll be able to get my numbers up really, really well. That's assuming that this does work, so you guys will know if this does start to work, but that's really good to see. We do have a few rainbow fish hatching out in these hatcheries that we set up last vlog, but nothing too crazy and nothing to write home about. It has only been a couple of days, so we'll see what happens, but there might not be that many in these couple of spawns, so we might have to sort something out, but we'll just be patient and see how these go. And other good news is in our Hillstream loach tank, these guys have really settled in. They've become a lot more active, and I've seen them in and around these rocks, hanging out and, you know, eating all the diatoms off of the stones and just being a lot more active in general. So I'm actually really hopeful that we're going to have some breeding as long as we've got mixed sexes like I was talking about earlier on in the video. I have added this zucchini here to attract all the snails to it, because I'm going to start culling all these snails out of here because there's probably way too many in here that are going to just compete to eat the eggs if there are any eggs spawned in here. So that's really good to see, but I guess that's going to be the end of this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching it. I really do appreciate it. I just wanted to make this video to show you guys the process of taking out fish to the shops and the big stressful day of just taking out fish in general. It's not a walk in the park, and it is quite an intense day, and you want to get everything out, and a lot of people don't count this into their plans when they think about breeding fish for profit, that they're going to have to, you know, spend a whole day taking fish out. But thank you so much for watching this vlog, and I'll see you guys in the next one.